There is no amount of slain children who could ever make me give up my God-given right to bear arms. And I know that's going to upset some people. There is no emotional plea that you could make to me. There's no story that you could tell me. And I say this with all due respect to what happened yesterday. I've been pretty much posting about it nonstop and praying about it. But this needs to be said. So, number one, let's start at the beginning. I'm a woman. I'm weaker than like 80 to 90% of the world's men, and I would say that that's a conservative estimate. I'm an unmarried woman, so I don't have a husband at home to defend me. And even as a married woman, my husband doesn't go everywhere to defend me. Women have a God-given right, a fundamental right to protect themselves. So do disabled people and elderly people and anyone else who is physically vulnerable in some way, like half the world's population, like women. And it's funny to me because the left will constantly talk about, first it was equality, which was great, and now it's equity, which is not so great. But either way, guns are the great equalizer. And if you were to take away the guns, which we can't do in the United States, but let's just live in a fantasy land like the left loves to do and pretend for a moment. If you were to take away the guns, what you are essentially saying is it's no longer a level playing field, and that's what we like. Men are going to dominate, and that's what we like. Bad men are going to dominate, and that's what we like. It's going to be dog eat dog. It's going to be the strong overtake the weak, and that's how we like it, because guns are the great equalizer. And I just said that we couldn't take away all the guns in the United States. This is true. So first of all, we have advancements in technology like 3D printing. People can print guns at home. And I'm not telling them to do that. I'm not encouraging them to do that. But even if it's illegal, this is something that physically is capable of being done. And unfortunately, something we know about criminals is they don't really care about laws. That's what makes them criminals. On top of that, we have more guns than people in the United States of America. U.S. citizens own almost half of all the civilian-owned firearms in the world. That's how many guns there are in the United States. And in order to even attempt to get rid of the guns in the U.S., we would have to send men with guns from the government to confiscate guns from American citizens, which is a little bit ironic, right? We don't like the guns. Guns are bad. We don't want people to have guns, so we're going to send men with guns to forcibly take your guns. But that's the only way that we could do it, because guns give you power in a situation. They give you force. They give you control in a situation. And so there's no way in which we confiscate guns without actually using men with guns, which is kind of counterintuitive, right? On top of that, we could take away all of these things that you guys call assault weapons, which, by the way, what is an assault weapon? I bet you can't define it. But we could try to take away all those assault weapons. We could outlaw them, put more laws in place to restrict them. And yet still, the reality is that handguns are used in over 3/4 of mass shootings. So you're still going to have the problem. And even if we take away all the guns, the handguns too, right? We can't do that. That's impossible, like I said, but let's just live in that fantasy land that the left loves to live in. In the UK, where they don't have guns, they have way more knife deaths and stabbings, because the problem isn't the gun. The problem isn't the knife. The problem isn't the weapon. Those are symptoms of a problem. You have to get to the root cause. And the issue is sin. It's evil. It is mental illness. And someone who is sick and intent on committing violence is going to find a way to do it. If you take away the guns, eventually you're going to need to take away the knives. Then you're going to need to take away something else, because it's not about the weapon. It's about the evil. It's about the sin. It's about the mental illness. The only way that we even begin to combat this, to have fewer of these awful tragedies, is to arm good men with guns and station them everywhere, particularly in our schools. And now we get to the real crux of what the Second Amendment is for. As an American, I have a God-given right to defend myself against government tyranny. That is what the Second Amendment was written for. It wasn't written so that women could defend themselves or you could defend your home. That's a nice little side benefit, but it was written for we the people's defense against government overreach and tyranny. And guns are what make America great. Now, obviously, a lot of things make America great, but the reality that the fact that we have guns is what facilitates those things to continue into existence and to make us great. Without the guns, the Constitution is a piece of paper. Without the guns, these great ideas that we have in America, this freedom that we have, it's really just an idea. It's because we have guns that, even though we handled COVID badly in so many respects, that we weren't Australia during COVID, where they were literally locking people in camps. Without the guns, we would cease to be America as we know it. And that's why there's no amount of slain children, tragically slain children, who can get me to give up my God-given right to bear arms. And I can't give it up even if I wanted to, because it is given by God. It is inherent in me as a human, as an American. It was not given by the founders, by the government. The government cannot take it away. And I cannot say, hey, you know what? I don't want it. I give it up. I sacrifice it. It is God-given, inherent in me. It's not up for human debate. But you know what? I am willing to talk about solutions. I want solutions just like everyone else. Everyone here wants solutions. Two really good places to start is the way that in this country, we affirm and encourage mental illness. And we even go so far as to call it an identity. And we go so far as to call you a bigot if you will not affirm mental illness as someone's valid and equal identity. Another really good place to start is outlawing gun-free zones, because again, what do we know about criminals? They don't care about laws. And we should absolutely 100% have good men with guns securing our schools and protecting our children. And I don't care how that makes you feel. I don't care if you think that looks bad or scary, or, oh, our children shouldn't have to go to school with good men with guns. No, they absolutely should have to, because we protect banks, we protect money with guns, we protect jewelry at jewelry stores with guns, and yet we don't protect our children with guns. Are you kidding me? Evil is always going to exist in this world. Sin is always going to exist in this world. Bad men, unfortunately, are always going to exist in this world. And whether you like it or not, guns are always going to exist in this world, particularly in the United States of America. So the only way that we even begin to attempt to combat this is to have good men with guns protecting our most precious resources, because we can't get rid of the evil, and we can't get rid of the sin, and we can't get rid of the bad men, and we can't get rid of the guns. So what else are we going to do to get rid of this problem?